How would you like to take a trip to Israel and float in the Dead Sea or climb Masada and even ride a camel? How would you like to explore Israel's most sacred and ancient structures? Wouldn't it be fun to learn and play an instrument? If you have a love for dogs, you will definitely love Sarah. Our guest today will talk about her memorable experiences on her trip to Israel, her love for music, and her loving dog Sarah. The Humanities Mass Communications Department at NOAA presents The New Directors, the show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now join our host, Mike Gallardi, to meet the new directors.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All the people involved with this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you're about to meet are students who, when not on camera, are behind the scenes working hard to bring this program to you with as few mistakes as possible. Each student will write and direct 4 different productions. This program will give you a chance to talk about themselves, the productions they are planning, and give you the chance to get to know them and watch their progress throughout the semester. Our guest today has traveled to Israel and visited one of the oldest temples and has loves for dogs and music. So we know that you've traveled to Israel, you love music, and there's something you'd love to share with us about your dog, Sarah. First, tell us about your experience in Israel.
Well, I left for Israel on the 31st of December in 2007. I went with an organization, Birthright Teglit. I remember the moment I saw Jerusalem. The directors of our group had us blindfolded until they walked us out into the Haas Promenade where it overlooks the city of Jerusalem. They had us do many exciting things. We rode camels, we went on an archaeological dig, we floated in the Dead Sea, we climbed Masada and watched the sunrise. It took a while to get up top, but it was well worth it. Going down was the scary part because at one point there wasn't any railing to hold on to and my legs started to shake, A, because I was nervous, and B, because it was pretty steep. So these are just a few pictures of Jerusalem and overlooking Jerusalem. This is Hebrew Union College. We actually got to sit on a lecture by a professor to listen about some of the issues that are going on in Israel. The campus is gorgeous. Many of the campus structures are made of limestone, and in fact, most of the ancient structures are made of limestone, which is actually called Jerusalem stone. This is the West Wall. The feeling of being here was actually kind of intense. You'll always find somebody praying at the wall. They would write a prayer down on a piece of paper and slip it into the wall. Of course, we did the same. We stood by the ancient temple for a while to really let it all sink in. This was by far the best experience I've had. I definitely plan to go back one day and maybe study there as well. And this is more of the temple. Now I'll tell you a little bit about my musical side. I love music. I mostly play guitar, but I also play a little bit of drums. This is my friend, or you will see in a moment, my friend and I jamming together. We've been friends and jamming together for 9 years. It's actually kind of nice when you have musical chemistry with someone. I love going to shows too. In a moment you'll see me at a show. Yeah, right now we're just jamming out together. We do it like every weekend. Guitar. Yeah, thank you. Oh, and this is me at a concert. Actually, the last concert I went to go see Prodigy. You could see like half of my face in this picture. Next, I'll tell you about my dog, Sarah. A lot of people have suggested that she become a therapy dog. Actually, when my grandfather was in the hospital, we brought her in and they thought she was a therapy dog because she was just so calm and relaxed, and we ended up taking her around to all the different patients. and she actually made them feel a lot better. And there you can see, she always has a way of snuggling up next to you.
Yeah, well, it's a very beautiful dog.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to take this TV production course?
Well, first of all, I love taking pictures and videos, but I always felt that I could do a better job. So compared to TV shows and other films, you could tell I'm just a beginner. So I really wanted to learn how to make my own projects look just as professional.
What are some of the useful things you've learned in this TV course?
I learned about composition, taking different angle shots. I learned how to draw attention to the subject. Rack focusing and learning how to use shallow depth is really important when you want to focus in on an object. So I also learned how to use Avid and how to use a lot of its editing tools.
Now, we know you've made a lot of projects in this course. Could you please tell us about your learning project, your Guns N' Hoses project, your Orange Story, and your nature project?
Sure. Well, my learning project, I used close-ups and over-the-shoulder shots to show two students talking to each other. That's my partner and her friend talking to each other. The continuity of the second half wasn't perfect, but I understood the idea of it. I just took the same shots over a few times and used Avid to edit it. So she's just looking through her books and finding a book and reading it. Second is the Guns N' Hoses project. With this project, I learned how to flop images, change colors, and more. Just using Avid constantly for all my projects really helped me learn how to use a lot of the editing tools. As you can see here, this was a promotion. Second is my nature project. I used a lot of rack focusing, which was my favorite part. Again, rack focusing, it really helps to draw the attention to the subject, and I used framing, lots of framing of mountains. Third, I'll tell you about my orange project. I believe I maintain continuity better in this sequence than my learning project, which is really important. I made a shot sheet so I would know exactly which angle I needed. It's about a student at NCC who is taking a class on how to perform magic tricks. The twist is that she finds an orange in her magic hat, thinking it's a sign that she's actually made this happen, when in fact the orange really just has a mind of its own. Of course, she has no idea what this orange is capable of, so at the end she actually thinks she made the orange disappear when the orange leaves the hat by itself. I did this very carefully not to show ourselves pushing the orange out of the hat. I was actually impressed that we were able to do the shot without using any special effects with Avid.
Now, I know you had a best project. Could you tell us about that?
Sure. My best project I thought was my nature project. I really took the time to walk through trails and even drive upstate just to get as far away from the city as possible and get some great shots of mountains. I would love to film nature more often. It's actually a very calming experience, and it takes time and patience. It's definitely not something to rush through.
Rack focuses there.
Oh yes, lots of rack focusing. And lots of framing. I like the framing part. I actually really like that shot. It was one of my favorites.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah. And focusing in on the water, the ripples of the water.
What would you like to create next?
I would actually love to start filming bands play. I'm definitely going to more shows this summer, so if they allow cameras, then I would be more than willing to. I would also love to make short films and lots of home videos.
What do you plan to do after graduation?
I actually plan on going to broadcasting school after this, maybe even the New York film industry, film academy, I'm sorry. I definitely want to pursue this as a career one day. Just keep writing and creating short films, definitely.
Today we got to meet someone who shared with us the wonders of Israel, her musical talents, and great personalities with dogs. She hopes to take what she's learned at NCC to document other travels and nature experiences. She also plans to use the new knowledge from Television One to edit exciting travel videos in the future. We'd like to thank Heather for joining us today. Thanks. We hope you enjoyed meeting some of television's future directors, and we hope you will continue to join us each week to watch our progress. Thank you and good day.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Mike Gallardi. Directed by Nassim Budabet. I am your announcer, Adam Loblack. This has been a Norwalk Community College student production.